Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us here in LiveFit Kitchen. We are once again joined by the fabulous Dr. Purcell. Hi there.
Hi Alicia, thanks so much for having me back.
We are continuing our holiday series. There is so much fun food in the holidays and so much of it can be so good for you. We're all going to go to lots of parties, maybe host some at home. So we have a walnut pate that really was surprising. This is very easy to make and very delicious too. So tell us why we love walnuts so much.
Delicious and good, that's our motto. We love walnuts because they're very high in omega-3 essential fatty acids. And you may have heard that term before. It's what fish oil and the big rage about fish oil is. And we can actually get our omega-3s from walnuts. And only 4 walnuts a day can get us to 90% of what our daily requirement is.
Which is pretty amazing and really great news for vegetarians. This is a vegetarian recipe, and who knew that it could be so amazingly good for us? So, talk us through.
Let me tell you what's in our walnut pate. As you can see, the ingredients are simple, but we don't pay a big price on flavor, or we don't skimp on the flavor. It's really great.
That's true.
So 1 cup of walnut pieces, 1.5 cups of cooked cannellini beans. Now these are the white kidney beans, if you're not familiar with that cannellini word. 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and then sea salt to taste, of course.
Just a little bit. So here's how I put this together. The first thing you do is you toast the walnuts a little bit. So I heated up my fry pan on the stove and I put the walnuts in, and then I started preparing other things. Guess what? Walnuts burn really fast. So it says to heat them for 7 to 10 minutes. After you've burnt the first batch, the pan is fairly warm and the second batch will cook in 5. So luckily I had a whole bag, and so I was able to get a second cup. Now you'll notice with the quantities here that they might seem kind of small. I prepared the whole quantity and then I used half of it to pre-prepare some to taste and the other half to show you how I put this together. So this isn't a cup of walnuts, so it doesn't look like it. So this is just a half recipe, but I'll take us through it as if it's the full thing. So anyway, we toast the walnuts. If you've never done it before, make sure you turn them frequently and don't walk away, I swear.
Stirring is key with toasting nuts.
It really is, yeah. Turning them frequently with a spatula was really very important for this second and successful batch. The other thing that I did was when I took them out, you know there's always the little flaky bits of walnuts? Well, those had, of course, kind of blackened a little bit in the pan. So rather than tipping the walnuts, out of the pan and into the mixer that I was using, I spooned them out and left the little burnt flaky bits behind.
Right.
That was key.
Because they can make your pate taste burnt.
Yes. So I felt very clever for figuring that out all by myself, because we all know that I have no professional training in cooking. So with the cannellini beans, I did buy the canned ones. They do look exactly like a kidney bean, but kind of pinky white beige. And I did buy the ones that had no salt added. So that's why the recipe calls for maybe just a little bit of salt. If you don't have access to the no salt ones and you're using, ones with sodium in the can, I would not add any extra salt to this recipe. So we toast.
The other thing that's important about this recipe, and you can tell me if that's what you did at home, Alicia, is usually when beans come in a can, we ask that they be rinsed and drained.
I did do that, absolutely.
And so she rinsed and drained them. Did you save some of the fluid in the can to help mix in if the pate was a little dry?
I didn't think to do that, and luckily the pate wasn't dry, but I did actually wonder what I would add if I needed to make a little liquid. So just a few tablespoons set to the
so
side.
for those of you at home, what I would do is I would take a couple of tablespoons, put it on the side, and then rinse and drain the cannellinis, put them in a bowl, and then if you need to go back to that to help moisten up the pate, at least you have it.
Okay, really good advice there, and certainly something I didn't think of. So the rest of the prep was really very simple. I did use my little mini food processor and just put in the walnuts and the cannellini. And then for the lemon juice, I pre-squeezed it. I did use fresh, and I used my handy dandy squeezer, which I swear this is such a wonderful thing. So it's 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So because I'm doing half quantity here, I'll only add 1, but it is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice for the cup of walnuts.
And remember how much I love fresh squeezed lemon juice. Very high in vitamin C, important for our immune system, and just a lovely overall ingredient to add, very flavorful.
Exactly, so much flavor. Now, I did use crushed garlic, pre-crushed. The only thing in here is garlic and citric acid is the preservative. And when you're using pre-crushed, 1 teaspoon is equivalent to 2 to 3 cloves. So this recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic. I happen to really love garlic, so I used a teaspoon, hoping that it would be kind of a little extra. So given that this is a half, I'll use the half teaspoon here. But yeah, one teaspoon of crushed equals 2 to 3 cloves of fresh. So in that went.
I can smell the garlic from here.
It smells so good. 2 teaspoons of olive oil, extra virgin, of course.
And then, of course, olive oil is very anti-inflammatory for our blood vessels. It's a monounsaturated fat, so it's a healthy fat for us, and it will decrease the amount of plaque buildup on the insides of our arteries.
Super stuff. So you can see how simple that was. Literally everything went in there. I would blend it and taste it before you add any salt, especially if there's already sodium in your cannellini beans. And as Dr. Purcell said, you know, maybe you'll need a little extra liquid just to keep it moist. As you know, I didn't, luckily, because I'd already tipped it down the sink. So we're not going to run this on camera because it's awfully loud, but I do have the half that I prepared earlier. And I was recommending serving this on cucumber slices, but you could do all sorts of things with this.
You could do all sorts of vegetables to serve a pate from. It's just like any other type of dip or salsa that we might prepare at home.
So do the taste test.
And we can eat it right off a spoon.
Or you could use the cucumber that I prepared earlier.
That's true. I can taste the garlic.
I do love garlic. I do use a lot. If you're not a big garlic freak, dial it back just that little bit.
And the toasted walnuts make a big difference. If you were to use raw walnuts, it wouldn't have as much flavor.
Yeah, the toasting definitely was key. So we have another winner. It's relatively moderate calories, right? I mean, the cup of walnuts is 600 calories, so you don't want to eat the whole thing yourself in a day.
You want to share it with your friends.
You do want to share it with your friends, but compared to some of the other choices that can be on a holiday table, I would say that this is a reasonable number of calories and super delicious. You'll surprise people.
And super full of good fats.
Yes, we love it.
All right, well, enjoy, everyone.
Thank you.